Hey guys, this is going to be a review of Shadowhunters Season 3, Episode 22, All Good Things. So this is the series finale. We're finally here. It feels like it's been forever. At the start of this episode, Izzy, Jace, and Meliorn end up confronting Lilith, and we see what is essentially Lilith's like real form, I think, for the first time in a while. Izzy ends up shooting Lilith, but she's kind of consumed with fire then, and the others all arrive and they all try to absorb the heavenly fire themselves to soften the blow and save Izzy, and it works. But when they're forming hands, Clary makes a comment about how they all have angel blood, so that will like protect them because the fire is going to eat all of their demon blood or whatever. It doesn't really make sense to me how like Simon and Meliorn, Lorenzo and Magnus come out of the situation and are still downworlders when the heavenly fire was curing downworlders before. But also Clary's comment about them all having angel blood, my best guess is because of the Alliance rune, because Magnus and Lorenzo definitely don't actually have angel blood, so the Alliance rune is the only explanation I can think of for that comment. We get a little period of happiness and stuff, which is nice. Izzy and Simon finally have a conversation about being in a relationship that's really sweet, and we see Alec and Magnus planning their wedding, and I love their conversation about having it at the Institute so that the Clave has to recognize that a Shadowhunter and Downworlder are getting married. But then things get serious again, and we see Jonathan with the Seelie Queen, and he ends up killing her, which I'm just very confused about where all of her guards are in that scene. For the entire series, she has always had guards around her protecting her, and then there are just none there to respond when Jonathan kills her. I guess you could interpret it as her having trust for him, but that just seems very misplaced if that's the case, so I thought that was weird. Clary asks Izzy to be her parabatai in this episode. That's another thing that doesn't happen in the books, and I was not expecting it at all, but I love it. I love that scene. I love the conversation they have. It's such a nice scene, and I hate that it's sad rewatching it because I know how this episode ends. Luke tells Clary that he's a Shadowhunter again, and he tells her that he's going to Alicante. And again, this is the thing, like I said, for episode 21. It's just so weird to me that everything with the Praetor was resolved so easily. Like, Luke didn't have to fight the Praetor at all or anything, and now apparently the Clave is just accepting Luke back in really easily when they're usually so like stuffy and uptight about things, and this has happened and they're seemingly easily letting Luke back in, and there's no like conflict with the Praetor. It's just weird how that's all brushed aside, even though I understand it's because there's like no time for it. Another thing that I wasn't expecting is Jocelyn showing up. The angels like send her to talk to Clary because they don't approve of how she's using her powers, and this was a pretty big twist to me because this is yet again something that does not happen in the books, and I was not expecting it. It just seems strange to me that Clary has these powers and the angels don't want her using them, so they give her resistance, but they also apparently can't stop her completely, which seems weird. But like, also, I know practically speaking, like, angels and Shadowhunters are presented as being very like rigid and have strict rules and things, but also Jonathan is trying to destroy like all life. So it seems very odd to me that like Clary saving the world is punished so harshly, even though I understand that kind of is what like how the angels are presented, but it just very frustrating. Another thing I was not expecting was seeing Robert and Max again, even though it's a nice surprise, and seeing the LA Institute was very interesting. It does seem kind of funny that Jonathan would spare Max too when he wanted to send a message, when he probably could have almost sent a message more effectively if he'd killed one of them and left the other. Not that I'm upset that they both survived, it just seems uncharacteristic of Jonathan. Clary ends up creating a new rune that gives her white wings and she kills Jonathan, and to be honest, I'm not completely clear about how that rune worked, even though visually it's very symbolic. The scene with Alec and Magnus's wedding is wonderful and lovely, and I love everything about it. I love all the characters we get to see there. I love that Maris walks Magnus down the aisle. I love that Jim is the officiant. Like, everything about that scene was perfect. At the same time, because I know what happens immediately after, there is a sense of like dread when I rewatch it. After Clary loses her memories, which is a very upsetting scene, we get 1 year later. Alec is the Inquisitor, Magnus is High Warlock of Alicante, which is all very interesting and definitely could have made very interesting stories on their own. And we get to see Maya one last time, which was nice because she's hardly in the finale, so I really appreciated having that moment with her and Simon and Bat too. And Izzy is head of the New York Institute, which is perfect, and I love that. And we do get a scene with Clary and Chase where Clary seems to finally remember everything when she's talking to him, although it stays kind of ambiguous. And Clary losing her memories is the main thing that I don't like about the series finale, because I just I don't like the justification of why the angels did it. Symbolically and things, I don't really know what it accomplishes, and it just really contributes to making everything feel rushed, I think. And so honestly, other than Clary losing her memories and Maya and Luke being gone for the vast majority of the finale, I do mostly like it, but Clary losing her memories is, along with Maya and Luke's absence, the big thing that I just question so much. I don't understand why it's there when it's so rushed and short and everything, but that's the ending we got, so there's no changing it now. So that's everything that I have to say about Shadowhunters, and it feels very satisfying to finally be done talking about all of the episodes. So I will see you guys later. Bye.